Welcome to the final edition of From the Desk of Greg Sansom. As you can well see, it's the Christmas edition, and this will be the last mailer for this year. For our new clients that have just joined us and joined the book, welcome. This is the way that I communicate with my clients once a month. I basically give you a quick snapshot of your Liberty portfolio, what's new at Liberty, together with obviously what's happening on the market from a standard perspective. Right, so without further ado, let's quickly have a chat about where Liberty is. So we had our latest tranche that we released. This was a 5-year endowment product that we raised capital for. You put the money into this 5-year plan. It was invested in the S&P 500 and the Euro Stocks 550. And the strike date's the 7th of December. We raised about just short of $1 billion. And effectively there is still money available that we can subscribe to. So for those of you that still would like to invest some money in this 5-year tranche, please try and get it in obviously before the strike date, which is the 7th of December. Great product, taken very well by the market. It's got a capital guarantee on it. With regards to the product, it's a call option. So effectively, if the S&P and the stocks, the Euro Stocks 50 do more than 1% over the 5-year period, you then get a 10% per annum return on your investment, which I think is fantastic. I think where markets are at the moment, it's a good place to strike because we've come back quite hard internationally. And we've basically, the markets, the European market and the S&P basically have to just do 1% between now and the next 5 years. And effectively on 2023, on the 7th of December, when they exit, as long as it's 1% higher, you get your 10%. And of course, it'll be paid to you immediately. More to the point, there's no tax on this product because it's a 5-year investment, so that's great. We nominate benefactors for death, so if something should happen, pay out to beneficiaries. And again, just to reiterate, the markets have come back quite nicely. So from a strike date perspective, if you have a viewpoint that in the next 5 years the S&P and the Euro Stocks 500 or 50 is going to do more than 1%, great place to house some of that spare cash that you've got. Okay, second thing about Liberty I want to talk about is reviews. So this is something that's become more and more important to us here in my office. And the reason why we like to do reviews is obviously to stay in touch with our clients. But more to the point is that life changes. People get married, they move around, they get new jobs, there's been salary increases and decreases. So from my perspective, I would like to say that I'd really like to do a review with you. And quite simply put, just return a mailer from this particular email that you receive, and Yvonne and I will schedule this review with you. Also, what's quite important is people's health change, and when your health it changes, it's not a bad idea to get in touch with us and let us know. A simple thing like changing from a smoker to a non-smoker is a massive saving. We've come across clients that this has happened and they forgot to let us know, and they've been paying smoker rates on their life insurance for so many years, and there's a massive saving by obviously quitting that filthy habit. Rightio, so from a Liberty perspective, that's all I have to say, and I think let's jump straight into the Stanlib side of stuff because there's quite a bit I want to cover there. All right, so Mr. Market, what have we done this year for us? Well, unfortunately nothing. The JSE is sitting at minus 12% year to date, and it's now basically the third year where cash has actually outperformed the equity markets. From an equity investor's perspective, we've asked everybody just to be patient. We've invested in quality. These stocks at the moment on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange that we've invested in all our portfolios are very, very cheap. We are just waiting for some positive news to come out of this country, some more political stability for Mr. Ramaphosa to lure some more investors across, and I promise you this market is really going to go forward. We haven't kept in touch with the rest of the world from an emerging markets perspective this year. We've actually lagged quite considerably. And again, the whole conversation gets held in this office more often than not is, I could have put my money in the money market and done better. Yes, you could have for the last 3 years, but if you're an equity investor and you're a young individual and time's on your side, the equity space is still the space you need to be in as far as we're concerned. Okay, so what I did was I wrote down a few things of things that changed the markets this year. You know, looking back at the year, we tend to forget why and how the market reacted to certain things. And it was quite interesting when I was doing my research. what I actually came up with in terms of things that we've forgotten about that has happened during the course of this year. And I thought it was quite fitting to touch base on some of these things. So on the 8th of Jan, we woke up and the US stocks were at an all-time high. On the 15th of Jan, the euro was at an all-time high too. On the 17th of Jan, we saw Bitcoin's bubble start to burst, and all those people that put their money into Bitcoin, depending on when you put it in, unfortunately went backwards. On the 22nd of Jan, we saw Trump unfortunately launch the trade war, and this is still with us at the moment, and it's causing havoc in the US markets. In fact, this week, which is at the end of November, they're having a massive meeting with China to try and come to some kind of conclusion. On the 15th of February, we saw Mr. Ramaphosa take the reins, and I mean, wasn't that a great day? We felt the Ramaphosa come through very quickly. On the 21st of Feb, would you believe it? It was the first VAT hike that we've had in 21 years in South Africa, so definitely one that moved the markets. 26th of Feb, we saw Mr. Nene back at the helm, and how that has changed for the balance of this year. On the 14th of March, believe it or not, SA business confidence was up. And our CPI actually dropped further, which is really great. In March, we saw Moody's give South Africa another chance and not downgrade us, which was, I believe, a very, very good call. In April, we saw the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, say that they forecast good growth for South Africa, which was, again, a massive market mover for us. In May, we saw oil, unfortunately, break $80 a barrel, and of course we felt this during the course of this year with that darn fuel price, and it's still going up, as we know. In June, we saw South Africa's economy start to shrink, and I think that's when the Ramaphosa started got ahead of us, and we sat back and actually then realized how much trouble we really were in. In July, we saw the Chinese stocks go back 2 years, which again pulled the US market back, which pulled our market back too. In July, we saw South Africa's unemployment rate rising, and that unfortunately continues to be with us. And in August, believe it or not, our good stock Naspers and 10 cents took a tumble on a speculation with regards to 10 cents earnings. August, we saw the rand falter. Moody's said, guys, that's it, I'm not comfortable going forward. And believe it or not, September was quite an interesting month, because on the 4th of September, we saw South Africa go into a technical recession. But then on the 11th of September, South Africa business confidence pulled back. On the 12th of September, South Africa's retail sales went up. On the 19th of September, South Africa's inflation was at 4.9. And on the 27th of September, the US decided to raise its rates. So that's up until September. We're obviously not out of this year yet. From myself, my team at Liberty and Standard, I'd like to thank you very much for the support that you've given myself or entrusted me with your hard-earned cash throughout the year. We're here for you throughout December. We close the offices around about the 15th of December and then open about the 10th of Jan. I'm available on my cell phone for emergencies or if you need anything urgently. But once again, I would really like to thank you for your support, and we'll continue to do our best for you. And I really look forward to doing that review with you next year. For those of you that don't celebrate Christmas, be safe and enjoy the holiday break. For those of you that do, have an absolute fantastic time. And recharge those batteries. I think next year is going to be an interesting one. So without further ado, I'd like to say thank you again, and until next time, Greg Sansom signing out.